Hey y'all, let me tell you about Gobble. All Gobble meal kits are pre-prepped. That means less work for you and less waste in your kitchen. Their meal kits include everything you need so you can save time at the store or just skip that trip entirely. I got the box in and I had 3 different meals. I had a Kung Pao chicken, crispy fish tacos, and a beef bourguignon, however you say it. But let me tell you about the classic beef bourguignon. Look, it came with beef pot roast and a beef broth concentrate, red wine demi-glace, cremini mushrooms, cipollone onions, mashed potatoes, baby carrots, and rosemary thyme butter. It was so easy to make. Literally like 15 minutes it took Cindy. And let me tell you something, and all the dishes were fire, but this thing was like a taste explosion in my mouth. It's just unreal. We've got to spend more time together and more time doing the things we love because everything came in this one single box right to my door. So see what a difference Gobble will make for your household. Right now, they're offering my listeners a fantastic limited time deal. You get $120 off across 4 boxes plus free shipping and free cookies. And let me tell you, those cookies, I ate one that was sin-baked and it was delicious. Go to gobble.com/real life. That's GOBBLE.com/real life for $120 off your first 4 boxes. This offer is not available on the home site, so don't miss out. This is genius. It's taste explosions in your mouth like you never had.
Hey everyone, and welcome to Real Life Real Crime Daily for Monday, November 6th. And I'm Jim Chapman.
And I'm Woody Overton.
And I'm Mike Agovino. Happy Monday, fellers.
Monday. Best week ever starts now.
That's right.
Right?
That's right.
We don't know what happened in the LSU game because we're actually pre-recording this, but go Tigers anyway.
Yeah. Hopefully we're smiling today.
Right?
Do you know what tomorrow is?
Tuesday.
No, but I know what
Correct answer.
November 9th is. My oldest daughter's 25th birthday.
Oh, wow. You know what's
Birthday to her.
What's kind of coincidental about that?
What?
Tomorrow is my 25th wedding anniversary.
Really? To Miss Jerry? I'm teasing Miss Jerry.
To my other
Holy
wife.
shit, she must get, we need to give her an award.
25 years. That's the silver anniversary.
Is it?
You know? Yeah, silver.
So, all right.
I think my wife is hoping
And
hoping I'm going to do better than silver for the 25.
Yeah.
And you know what's
She may be somewhat disappointed.
You know what's coincidental about that?
What's that?
On November 14th is my 25th wedding anniversary.
Really?
Wow.
Yeah.
1998. Something in the air.
1998.
Holy,
in the air,
that's
90s.
nice.
November 14th.
A week apart.
I'm here hanging out with 2 OG.
Did you get married here? Did you get married here locally?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Actually at Immaculate Conception Church right here in Denham. Yeah.
Where'd you get married?
In Jackson, Mississippi.
Really?
My wife's
Drove through
hometown.
there yesterday.
Fast, I hope you didn't stop, right?
Yeah, and in rush hour, surprisingly, that's the least amount of traffic I've ever had there.
Well, about half the cars on the road are occupied by escaped prisoners there, so you have to, you can't drink the water, not because there's urine in it, but because there's apparently other contaminants. So
y'all doing anything special for?
we're going to a very nice dinner, and I have a nice surprise for her. So hopefully,
Got a nice surprise.
hopefully, hopefully it all
Refill that Cialis.
works out.
Red painting night at
That's a double.
Agovino's
That's a
house.
double pill day. Yeah, that's a double pill.
Double pill. Woo.
All right. Okay.
Well, you'll have to keep us informed.
Yeah.
Happy anniversary, sweetie.
And we'll have another episode recorded before then. So how about that, right? So
That's right.
Anyway, let's get into some true crime time for Monday.
And we're in Louisiana, and a 60-year-old man will spend the rest of his life behind bars after he was found guilty of killing his girlfriend in a parking lot 3 years ago. A Jefferson Parish judge sentenced Dennis Shepard to life in prison in connection with Jira Holmes' 2020 death. He was convicted of second-degree murder after a jury deliberated only 36 minutes.
Nice.
That means he got a lot of evidence.
Wow.
On November 2nd of 2020, Shepard and Holmes got into an argument outside of her apartment building. He got out a zip tie, put it around her neck, pulled it, and suffocated her to death.
Oh, God, that's a bad way to go.
He then pushed her to the ground in front of witnesses. Witnesses heard Shepard saying, "She wanted me dead. Now she's dead." Jefferson Parish Sheriff's Office deputies arrived at the apartment building parking lot and found Holmes deceased with that zip tie around her neck. Shepard was apprehended 3 days later in Bay St. Louis, Mississippi. At the sentencing, Holmes' twin sister said in her victim impact statement that Shepard committed an evil act and added, "I hope the only mercy you get for the rest of your life is the mercy you showed my sister." Judge June Barry Darensburg told Shepard she had a full life ahead of her. She was very young. To take someone's life, I would have to agree with the impact testimony. It was an evil act. So,
Right. How many years?
in jail.
60?
Rest of his life.
Oh, I thought for some reason I thought you said 60. Maybe I
No,
was thinking
his age is 60.
Yeah,
his
he's
age is
60.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that probably won't take him long then.
Yeah.
Prison, you don't exactly have the longest. What do you call that?
Doesn't extend your life being in there.
Yeah, right. So,
Well, he's where he needs to
right,
be.
let me tell you something. Only a couple things that really, really bother me, and I have a really bad gag reflex. Like when I brush my teeth, I told you about that before. And I don't want anybody touching my motherfucking neck. I don't know if I died like being choked out in a past life. I cannot imagine having a zip tie done on your neck and being choked out like that.
No doubt.
Fuck that.
But you mean just me reaching over right now
no,
and
but don't touch
doing
my
a
neck.
little Adam's apple tickle? Will that'll set you off?
Don't touch my neck.
Wow.
I'll tell you, well, you remember Sean Vincent Gillis was fond of zip ties.
Yes, he was. That's right. He's a special one, too. So, all right, y'all. Let's go to North Dakota. And a North Dakota man named Stephen Edward Riley Jr., who was 51, made a decision to dump his longtime girlfriend, Ina Thea Kenora, 47. Hey.
That's breakups are not crime stories, Woody.
Yeah, but just stay tuned. And hey, these things happen, and it was just time for the couple to move in different directions, right? And so just go on about your own business, right? Well, that's not exactly how Ina saw things. You see, Stephen had just learned he was to receive a very healthy inheritance. In fact, $30 million worth of inheritance,
wow.
right?
That's a lifetime.
So, but it's in the state of Louisiana, you inherit shit, even though it's community property state. Your spouse is not allowed to half of that. Did you know that?
No.
Well, evidently it's come to be the same thing here. So the breakup was rather ill-timed as far as Ina was concerned. Stephen Riley became very, very ill during a meeting with his lawyer back on September 3rd, and Riley was with his attorney to collect his massive $30 million inheritance, according to police. Riley returned home after the meeting, but was feeling awful. Riley was still living with Ina at the time, but he had already made his feelings known to her. Ina Kenora decided not to call 911 until the following day, and when they arrived at the Minot home, Riley was unresponsive. Ina was charged Monday with the September 5th murder of Stephen, a gruesome act that cops said was driven by financial motives. This case was extremely complex, said the captain of the Minot Police Department. An autopsy determined he was killed after ingesting antifreeze, which police allege she fed to him. The accused killer proclaimed her innocence in a series of nonsense Facebook posts in the days leading up to her arrest, claiming Riley had killed himself. She told investigators she planned to split Riley's astounding inheritance, which she estimated to be around $30 million, with his son. She claims she was entitled to the fortune as his common-law wife. The only problem with that is North Dakota does not recognize such relationships. And additionally, Riley had revealed plans to break off the romance shortly after receiving the massive sum leading investigators theorize that she poisoned him to secure the treasure. Rest in peace, Dad. I had a feeling it was her, but how everything played out. But fuck, I wish we made plans to see each other sooner, Riley's grieving son wrote on Facebook. Hope she gets what she deserves for taking you from this world. She faces a double-A felony murder, the most severe murder charge in North Dakota, and she's being held without bond at the Ward County Detention Center. Yep, and she plans on representing herself. Well, let me tell you something, boys. You know why they put the smell in antifreeze? Why it smells like it smells?
So you can't poison somebody with it?
Well, because back in the day, my daddy's day, they said, and cover your ears, Miss Jerry. They like if other people's dogs came in the yard or whatever, they would feed them antifreeze, and dogs, whatever, not the smell that it has now, whatever smell it was back then, they were super attracted to it, and that's how they would poison them. And they said it was a horrible, watching your dog choke out and foam out. Yes. Imagine what it does to a human being.
Has there ever been a more clear motive for a case? I mean, she waited all of 24 hours after finding to feed him the antifreeze.
Wow, I don't know, but I don't know how the hell she thought she was going to get away with it.
$30 million make you do some crazy stuff.
Yeah, but you know what, y'all? If it ever happens to me, send me to Parish Forensics or my own autopsy.
That's right.
Okay,
that's for sure. Well, certainly antifreeze shouldn't be hard to find.
But that's right. But I mean, if the cops don't investigate it, if you ever just find me, I'm pretty healthy for my age, and if you ever find me dead from stuff or there's a suicide note or whatever, I didn't do it.
You didn't write the suicide note?
Call a homicide detective. I may have wrote it at gunpoint or something. I don't know. But I probably wouldn't be that kind of bitch. They would just have to shoot me. But if you ever find me like that, I didn't do it. Call a homicide detective.
Well, you change your handwriting. See, if you have to write that note, just do it in different handwriting so everyone knows.
I can't because my handwriting is like doctors. Nobody can read it but me anyway.
Yeah.
Well, then we're not going to know you had to do it at gunpoint.
This is true. Unless it's pretty handwriting.
Hawaii.
Yep, been there.
I love Hawaii.
I'm not going back.
You're not going back?
Nope.
I love Hawaii.
I did say
and I love every TV show about Hawaii.
Me too.
5-0 your favorite?
I like 5-0, but no.
Magnum
PM is my favorite.
Do you like the new Magnum, though?
No, I never really watched it. I like the old Magnum.
Tom Selleck.
The old Magnum.
I love that.
The new 5-0, I think definitely better than the old 5-0.
Really?
I mean, it's actually run for a lot longer than the old 5-0 did. And
never watched
they still use the really awesome, cool theme song. Now they've got a NCIS Hawaii.
Really? Don't watch that either.
They've got a CSI.
Don't watch that either.
So they got all kinds of Hawaii.
It's like
stuff.
going to work, but it's fake.
Okay. Well, we're going to do a story about Hawaii.
All right, do it.
Authorities were convinced that they were KGB spies.
Uh-oh.
And now a jury has convicted a Hawaiian couple of conspiracy, passport fraud, and identity theft for stealing identities and living for decades under the name of 2 dead babies. Juries deliberated for about 2 hours before reaching guilty verdicts on Monday. The judge presiding over the trial in U.S. District Court in Honolulu referred to the couple by their preferred names of Bobby Fort and Julie Montague. The couple had argued in court that their actions did not harm anyone. At the start of the trial, Assistant U.S. Attorney Tom Mulick said that the real Bobby Fort had been dead for more than 50 years. The baby had a bad cough and lived for only 3 months, Mulick said. One of the witnesses who testified was Tonda Montague Ferguson, who said she was in the 8th grade when her mother gave birth to her sister, Julie Montague, in 1968, but the infant had birth defects and died about 3 weeks later. The 2 babies were buried in Texas cemeteries 15 miles apart. The couple, now going by Bobby Fort and Julie Montague, had attended the same high school in Texas. A classmate who remained in touch with them after high school said that they had stayed with him for a short period of time and told him that they planned to change their identities because they had accumulated substantial debt. The husband even used his fake identity, which made him 12 years younger, to join the Coast Guard. When they're sentenced in March, they face a maximum of 10 years in prison for charges of making false statements in the application and use of a passport. They face up to 5 years for conspiracy charges and mandatory 2-year consecutive terms for aggravated identity theft. The case gained attention soon after the arrest last year because prosecutors suggested it was about more than just identity theft. Prosecutors introduced Polaroids of the couple wearing what they described as, quote, authentic KGB uniforms, and they believed that the couple were Russian agents. The Russian suspicions are what drove this case forward, but lawyers for the couple explained that they wore the same jacket once just for fun and had absolutely no ties to Russia. Upon further investigation, prosecutors backed away from the whole Russian spy intrigue, but they had broken the law and were prosecuted accordingly anyway. So the whole reason they were discovered was because they wore these outfits that made these guys think they were Russian spies, but they weren't Russian spies at all. But they had stolen these identities of these infants that had passed away years ago to avoid a bunch of debt that they were in. So they are now going to go to jail.
Debt. Avoiders.
Debt avoiders, yes.
Yeah. And
pay your bills, people. Don't change your name.
Right.
Look, identity theft, serious shit.
Yep.
It'll ruin someone's life that don't even know it's getting ruined.
Right.
You know.
Well, they were dead. So.
Well, in that case, yeah. But I'm just overall. I mean, identity theft's a major problem in this country, maybe in every country for that matter. We're going to move on to a Michigan man.
You've been doing a lot of Michigan lately.
His story.
That's where the landing strip is.
That's right. A Michigan man who claimed to expose child predators online across his social media accounts was shot and killed last week. Robert Wayne Lee, known across social media to his over 50,000 followers on Instagram as Bupak Shakur, would pose online as a 15-year-old girl to lure and expose predators into meetings. Lee was in a restaurant in the area of Pontiac, Michigan, a city 30 miles outside of Detroit, when he was shot and killed by a person during an argument. The following day, investigators told reporters Lee confronted two males sitting at a table and accused one of them of being a pedophile before punching him. Oakland County Sheriff Michael Bouchard said one suspect pulled out a knife while the other pulled a gun, shooting Lee multiple times. In an updated statement, Bouchard said that no longer appeared to be the case. When we originally responded to the call, the community inferred he could have been there for that reason, to confront a pedophile. But he added, as we got deeper into the investigation, we have yet to find any corroborative information on that point. So far, there is no evidence that the confrontation was a planned meeting or that it was part of any sting operation, police said. The two people who were involved in shooting Lee were a 16-year-old, who prosecutor's office says was the suspected shooter, and an 18-year-old. The case does remain under investigation, but apparently this guy was playing a little, NBC.
What's Chris Hansen?
Chris Hansen,
yeah.
In Michigan, and look, that's always a bad idea.
Yeah.
Don't leave it to the authorities and experts.
Right. I understand if he was really doing it and people taking the law in their own hands or whatever, but those Chris Hansen episodes, and I actually got to speak with him. He's not really doing those anymore. He's a pretty cool guy though. But that's some of the best shit you've ever seen. When he lures those pedophiles in, and they shove alcohol and pizzas and condoms and weed, and the girl's like, "That'd be just a minute."
Their face when he walks
in. He comes
in.
out, and they're like,
"To catch a predator."
Yeah, to catch a predator.
Yeah.
Am I getting confused, or was he caught doing the same kind of thing?
No. He was caught cheating on his wife.
Yeah, he got caught.
but not
he got caught with some stuff. But he actually has a very successful podcast and stuff now. And I mean, he's just a dude. He's a regular Joe. His people are actually pretty cool too. We've been in contact with him. But anyway, you know what? Squatters, boys.
Squatters.
A lot of
Squatters again. So I guess
you're the official squatters.
I was about to say, I guess I've now become the official squatter stories correspondent here.
Okay, let me write that down.
At Real Life Real Crime Daily, and we have a new one out of the state of Florida. Now, this is like the third in 2 weeks. Florida authorities arrested 19 squatters last week after they destroyed a vacant motel, creating a really atrocious scene and causing $15,000 in damages. The squatters were charged with trespassing at a former Budget Inn in Gainesville, where police have responded to dozens of calls in the past. This time, there were a lot of people there and a lot of damage to the facilities. They had broken into the utilities. There was an enormous amount of drug paraphernalia and alcohol, the county spokesperson said. It was just a really atrocious scene. It took 3 hours for the local sheriff's department to clear 36 rooms, including some that were barricaded shut. It's pretty smart there, right?
Yeah.
Let me tell you something. The hardest door to break down is a hotel door. I've hit it with the SWAT team, and the one here in Denham Springs, one of the hotels here. We beat that son of a bitch with the ram, and still could never get it open. I had to go get the key, and they had already flushed everything by the time we got in then. But that's pretty smart. And you got the super door anyway, and then you got barricade it shut. But a minor was even in one of the rooms, y'all, without a legal guardian. And the day before, the Lee County Sheriff's officers arrested another suspected squatter, Emmanuel Pierre, after he broke into a home. Pierre cooked in the kitchen, drove a car in the driveway, and even set up a console to play video games in the bedroom. The homeowner came back to the house after he received alerts that the temperature on his smart thermostat had changed. Right? He called 911 when he saw the house was broken into before finding the squatter behind the wheel of his car. The homeowner blocked Pierre from leaving until the sheriff's office arrived, and Pierre was charged with burglary and stealing a car. Squatters everywhere.
I bet it's a huge thing in Florida because of all the snowbirds. I mean, all of those places that are unoccupied for like
the
half
one that
the year.
had the island. The one that trips me out the most is the island right offshore, and they built tree houses and shit. And all the rich people were mad as fuck because they had to look across these people swimming back and forth the island and staying on there, you know. But squatters, see if I can make it wrong. Squatters everywhere. Squatters, y'all beware. No, that doesn't make sense. Squatters everywhere. Squatters.
Life's not fair.
Yeah, that's right. Whatever.
Well, squatters are becoming a major problem, but Elon Musk and Joe Rogan were talking on a great podcast just a few days ago, and one of the discussions was San Francisco and how crazy it has gotten because Elon Musk has businesses there.
It's Twitter.
Yeah, and
X.
And him and Rogan were talking about just where it's located. And he asked Rogan, "Have you been to San Francisco lately?" And he's like, "No, not lately, but it was bad when I was there." He said, "Joe, it's insane. It's like a whole nother world."
Yeah, and so let me say this,
and that's a beautiful city, from what I understand.
Right,
I've never
it
been
used
there.
used to be.
Yeah.
And so I was listening, and let me go ahead and give a shout out to Joe Rogan because I actually listened to his shit on my way back and forth to Wisconsin after I listened to all ours. Joe, you want to have us on the show? I'm pretty sure.
Definitely.
I can smoke some weed with you and say a bunch of fuck bombs and tell some great stories. So go ahead and get us on there, Jay. Or you can come on ours. It doesn't matter. We love you, though. I listen for I think the show's long as fuck. And then the last one I listened to was Hulk Hogan, bro. It was Hulk Hogan talking about all the drugs and the murders and the shit they did back in the 70s.
Yeah.
But anyway, he was talking about this because my brain skips. But he was talking about how you were talking about them locking up everything in the Walgreens and shit. He said even the TV dinners and shit are all under padlock now.
Yeah.
But Walgreens and all the rest of them.
Yeah,
and they're like 400 couldn't be billion. I thought they said billion. That's what these chains lost. Target lost $400 million in 1 year from people running a store and stealing shit. And if you stole under $900, they just let you go. Oh, yeah. $900 worth of shit.
Yeah, that's crazy.
How the fuck can you stay in business like that? That's a crime.
You got thieves in there adding up what they're stealing.
Yeah, right.
Well, don't go over 900, boys.
Have you guys noticed that on pharmacy parking lots, there are now a meaningful number of slots to park for quick pickup that you can only park for 10 minutes because so many people are now calling ahead or going online and placing their order because so many of the items they want are behind some kind of protection.
Makes sense.
And so it's going to cost them so much time to try to go to the store physically.
If I was a thief, my answer to that would be I'd call ahead and make my big ass order and have them bring it out to me and just steal it then.
Well, yeah, but
Thank you.
But they're not going to bring an order out that you haven't already paid for.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, so you have to submit.
I ordered
some form of
McDonald's for
payment.
the first time this morning through the app and pulled in a curbside
You didn't get
parking lot.
urine instead of coffee.
No, and I didn't get him semen in my water either.
Okay, good.
But I got my frappe and my egg and muffin.
And your
Man got to eat.
Man gotta
yes,
eat.
a man does
Man gotta
gotta
eat too.
eat, but a man doesn't gotta cheat.
Nope.
And we're going to talk about cheating here. We're going to go back to Michigan, where there is a major
The landing strip.
college. There is a major exotic dance club known as the Landing Strip, just a couple miles down the road from Metro Airport. But that's not what we're here to talk about. We are here to talk about a cheating scandal that has the potential of bringing down one of the top football programs in college. You guys heard about this? What's going on here?
I don't know.
Harbaugh, yeah.
Okay.
Pay attention. Pay attention.
It's called the Landing Strip Lounge. I just looked it up.
Oh, they added lounge to it.
And it has
no,
3.7.
so it's much more classy now.
3.7 stars.
Out of 5?
Yeah.
Wow, it's back in the day. It had to hit a 4 or 5. I would think. Back to the
Dine in, no delivery.
shut up. Oh my God! Apologies to the Landing Strip and you good people in Michigan.
I'm trying to get us a Christmas party there.
Okay, so the University of Michigan has won 9 NCAA football championships. Hate to break it to you guys, but that's more than LSU, more than Ohio State, more than USA. But they have not been a champion since 1997. And patience in Ann Arbor, Michigan has been running low for years. Legendary Michigan quarterback and former NFL quarterback and former coach of the San Francisco 49ers, Jim Harbaugh, returned to his alma mater, Michigan, back in 2015 to become its 20th head football coach. Harbaugh vowed when he got there that he would win a championship with Big Blue.
He's about to do it now. He's 8-0.
He's had a lot of success since coming back to Ann Arbor. He's got a record of 74-25 overall. They've had 5 10-win seasons with him as coach. They've gone to 7 straight bowl games, and twice they've made it to the college football semifinals. But he has yet to make good on his vow. This year, Michigan is undefeated at 8-0 and ranked number 3 in the country.
Number 2 now.
With many people believing they went from 2 to 3 this week. I don't know if you saw the latest ratings.
I just.
Woody's not as up to date as Mike is on college football ranking.
How about that?
Oh, well, that's the AP top 25.
I just looked it up.
Got to go to the
didn't make
coaches
that number
poll.
up out
That's
of my
AP.
head.
We don't do anything AP here on the show.
Okay.
This year, Michigan is undefeated at 8-0 and ranked either second or third in the country. And many people believe that they actually have the best team in the country. But Jim Harbaugh has a very big problem. Michigan has been accused of cheating. Harbaugh and Michigan are at the center of an NCAA investigation into alleged sign stealing. And it became public on October 19th. You may be saying, sign stealing, football, I don't get it. How does that work?
All right.
The allegations involve whether Michigan violated rules that prohibit teams from scouting future opponents in person, a practice that has been banned in college football since the mid-'90s. One Michigan staffer, a guy by the name of Connor Stallions, who has been suspended, paid a former Division III coach to attend and record future opponents' games and sidelines, according to ESPN. Similar to baseball, football teams are always trying to steal signs from the other team during games, and there's no rule against stealing signs during a game. In baseball, the third base coach flashes signs to a runner on base to tell them whether to steal or whether a sacrifice bunt is being called. Similarly, in football, a defensive coach will signal from the sidelines what kind of alignment they want the defense in for a particular play. Defenses work very hard to disguise what defense they are in, so that the offense can't adjust a play, known as calling an audible, for that particular defense. So a game of cat and mouse is constantly played over this, and Peyton Manning's probably the quarterback most famous for outsmarting the other team with those audibles and reading the defense by putting guys in motion and different things like that. So if you know what the defense is going to do on a particular play, then you can choose an offensive play designed specifically to succeed against that defense, right? This is why you cannot advance scout opponents and record their sidelines. If you do this, you'll be able to study that film and understand what the signals are for certain defensive alignments. And now when you play that team, you'll know what defense they're going to be in for each play. So up until now, it's been unknown whether Harbaugh was aware that Michigan had received film of future opponents. The situation is being invested in real time. Everybody is hush-hush, including the athletic director, who's not saying anything. Harbaugh is not saying anything. But Harbaugh had been offered a new contract, a lengthy contract extension that would have made him the highest paid coach in the Big Ten and one of the highest paid coaches in college football. It's unclear exactly when that contract was floated, but it has been retracted because of the sign stealing allegations. So nobody's talking about it, but if Michigan is found to have committed these violations, they would almost certainly be suspended from participation in any playoffs, including this year. So their best team, chance at a national championship, and they're tossed and can't do it. They could have victories taken away. Harbaugh could face suspension or even termination if Michigan deemed it was in the university's interest. So major scandal, college football, and I know how much our listeners love football stories, especially four-pagers.
I would like to offer you congratulations on that, Mike, for having the most thorough explanation of sign stealing that I've ever heard in my life.
That's right. No,
we have a lot of listeners who. Okay, you know what? We'll count the numbers. Complain at me if that was all redundant and you all understand football well enough to know everything and that was idiotic, or thank me for explaining the scandal to you and the role of signs.
There you go, listeners.
Thank you. Or say,
or tell me you don't give a shit
about football.
I knew that was coming. All right, well, now we're going to give you something you may give a shit about. And as the Airbnb correspondent.
You are the Airbnb correspondent.
How can our Airbnb correspondent be somebody who's never stayed in an Airbnb?
That's right, because I'm not biased.
You're unbiased.
I'm unbiased.
Yeah.
Well, the reason you don't stay in one is because you're biased against staying in one. So
it's because I come across these crazy stories, and I'm going to give you another one. Airbnb is at it again. An Airbnb customer was told there was nothing the company could do after a host mixed up their leaving dates and dumped all of their belongings out on the street. The company offered compensation to the customer only after the case was raised by.
Hey, ladies, are you feeling overwhelmed by hormonal changes? Well, you're definitely not alone. There are more than 1,000 hormone disruptors living in our environment right now. It's in your food, your water, the air you breathe, the clothes you wear, your skincare products. They all mess with your hormones. Then there's the natural hormone changes your body goes through, premenopause, menopause. And while it's a natural process, it doesn't mean you have to suffer through it. The good news is you don't have to suffer through it anymore, because now you have Hormone Harmony, a formula made only with herbal ingredients that are shown to reduce hormonal symptoms in women of all ages. Hormone Harmony is not just a hormone support and supplement. It's become a phenomenon. Women can't stop talking about it on social media. A bottle of Hormone Harmony is sold every 24 seconds. And the biggest benefit? Well, my wife says it makes her feel like her own self again. And that's what women mention over and over in the reviews. And there are over 30,000 reviews for Hormone Harmony. And for a limited time, you can get 15% off your entire first order at happymammoth.com. Just use code RLRC at checkout. That's happymammoth.com and use code RLRC for 15% off today. That's happymammoth.com and use code RLRC. Spark something uncommon this holiday with just the right gift from Uncommon Goods. The busy holiday season is here, and Uncommon Goods makes it less stressful with incredible hand-picked gifts for everyone on your list, all in one spot. Gifts that spark joy, wonder, delight, and that's exactly what I wanted feeling. Hey, y'all, I ordered a super cool piece. It's a candle with a sculpture of an LSU's Tiger Stadium on top of it. And each officially licensed laser cut wooden replica features up to 4 layers of detail, creating a bird's eye view of a specific football field, seating section, and more. And every label includes your stadium's name, the team's logo, and school location. And it has a coconut, soy, vegan wax infused with sandalwood smell that creates tailgates and touchdowns scent profile, reminiscent of game day. It's invigorating like fresh cut grass and nostalgic like smoke from a pre-game grill, and calming like the crisp autumn air of a new semester on campus. Y'all, I love it. I have it at the base of my TV, and I'm ready to watch the Tigers play on Saturday night, right? Uncommon Goods. Look, when you shop at Uncommon Goods, you're supporting artists and small independent businesses. And many of their handcrafted products are made in small batches. So shop now before they sell out this holiday season. Uncommon Goods looks for products that are high quality, unique, and often handmade or made in the U.S. They have the most meaningful, out of the ordinary gifts anywhere. They even have gifts you can personalize. From holiday hosts and hostess gifts to the coolest finds for kids, to hits for everyone from the book lovers to diehard sports fans. Uncommon Goods has something for everyone, not the same old selections you can just find anywhere. And with every purchase you make at Uncommon Goods, they give $1 to a nonprofit partner of your choice. They've donated more than $3 million to date. So to get 15% off your next gift, go to uncommongoods.com/RLRC. That's uncommongoods.com/RLRC for 15% off. Don't miss out on this limited time offer. Uncommon Goods, we're all out of the ordinary.
A reporter. The customer, identified only as PM, said they were on the last night of their stay in Washington, D.C. when they returned to their property late in the evening. They told the paper that the apartment had been cleaned and that they found their belongings, including their passport, dumped in the street in garbage bags. The customer added that after reaching out to the host, they were told they had overstayed and that the new guest was coming in the morning. I showed my booking confirmation stating checkout was 11 a.m. the following morning, and she looked sheepishly. They said that they were ultimately allowed to return to the apartment for the night, but that the host refused to offer any compensation. The customer said Airbnb didn't respond until after 3 a.m. and repeatedly told them they couldn't help. Jake Ross, a company spokesman, told Insider in a statement that those issues were rare. Our original handling of this case did not meet our high standards, and we have issued a refund and additional compensation to the guest to make amends. The compensation eventually offered to the customer consisted of half the money returned and half of it as credit towards a future stay. Ross also said, while we believe this was a genuine misunderstanding, we have warned the host about their management of the situation. He added that the host was a super host. Who knew they had those? Who had never had complaints of this nature before. He said the company has reached out to the guest to make things right. But y'all, this ain't the first time Airbnb has been accused of being slow to respond to public concerns. Jeff Palkovich, whose Los Angeles home was falsely listed as an Airbnb for months in April of 2022, tried for more than a year to alert the company, which only took action after media reported the incident. Imagine that. Yeah, right. You got a house you're just living in and Airbnb's promoting it as a rental. It emerged that his property was probably being used as a bait and switch scam. The company has since removed the false listing, and in 2018, Airbnb took several months to compensate a couple whose host smashed through their window in a frenzy. Though the company promised the couple a refund of $708, the money only came after media started applying pressure. Airbnb declined to pay the couple the $5,000 compensation they requested, offering, get this, $2,700 in therapy sessions instead, as it was reported. So Airbnb, how about that? Hey, you show up, you check out's not till 11 a.m. the next day, and all your stuff's in the street.
In the yard.
Yeah.
You reminded me, I actually did have a bad Airbnb experiences like 13, 14 years ago. It was in Gulf Shores or Orange Beach. And so we rented this apartment through Airbnb, which was off the beach, but the guy gave us passes to one of the Phoenixes where they own a condo. So you can go use the big lavish swimming pool and all this shit. And back then I didn't have a lot of money. I was just out of law enforcement, stuff like that. I took my family, and the second day we're in the apartment, get a knock on the door. It's the apartment manager. They had a little swimming pool there. And I said, can I help you? She said, are y'all Airbnb? And I said, yeah. And she said, you got to get out. And I'm like, what do you mean? She said, this guy is Airbnb in it, and he's not allowed to. And to add insult to injury, we'd gone, I think the same morning, we'd gone over to the Phoenix thing with the armbands and shit in the parking tag. And security wouldn't let us in. The armbands were for a different week. So I'm not throwing shade on Airbnb, but I had forgot about that. But I've used them since then. So interesting story there, Jimmy. All right.
I would actually like to offer something in Airbnb's defense here.
Okay.
Use them all the time. And, you got to be diligent, and you got to go on Google Earth and make sure that the place is in the location you want it to be in, and that you've gotten real pictures of the place and everything else. But extensive use for a decade, and rarely have we had anything but a small problem, and those problems get addressed pretty quickly. I think there's an industry in this country that is hurting very badly because of Airbnb that often is behind pushing a lot of negative publicity in that direction. I won't talk about who those companies might be.
Well, that's the only one I have. I just told that dude I was going to whip his ass. I didn't even file a complaint with Airbnb. But let's go back to Alabama again, because I was just talking about it, right? So, yeah, you know what? I've lived all over the United States and moved and shit, and I always leave something behind, but man, not like these dumbasses. Listen to this. So, like I said, moving is never an easy process, and so much to do, and many people procrastinate and put it off to the last moment. And when you rush like that, it can become easy to forget things. But you won't believe what this Alabama couple left behind. The landlord sold the house the Halsteads were renting back in September. The new homeowners were cleaning the new property when they came upon a gruesome discovery. It was a spare freezer.
Okay. Well, awesome.
Right? It could have been a bonus, right?
Yeah.
I mean, then you're thinking, because I said gruesome, you think it might be some rotten meat or something in. Maybe it wasn't plugged in.
Possibly.
No, negative. Ghost Rider, that pattern is full. They thought they were going to get a freezer, and then they opened it up and found a decomposed body.
Oh, Lord.
So they freaked out and called the police. And on Sunday, the Henry County Sheriff's deputies arrested Michael Sheen Halstead, 44, and Karen Teislinger Halstead, 42. And they have each been charged with one count of abuse of a corpse. They said, we received a call at 11:37 a.m., and when officers responded, they found the body, Blankenship said, and Blankenship, y'all, is I think the sheriff. The decomposed body, believed to be a 19-year-old Logan Michael Halstead, was found in the freezer outside where I told you at. The Halsteads were questioned before being charged, and they had to appear before a judge. They got a $175,000 bond. But the couple's youngest children, 13-year-old twin boys, are currently in the care of the Alabama Department of Human Resources, and the landlord sold the Halstead house to the current homeowners in September. The body had apparently been in the freezer since late August. This incident is a very tragic situation, and our agency is committed to finding out the truth. The investigation is still ongoing, and information will continue to be released as the case progresses, Blankenship said in a press release. Blankenship said the department is currently in initial stages of investigation and that the deceased body has been transported for an official autopsy. In addition to working with the forensic team, the sheriff said the department is working with the Social Security Administration, and Blankenship said the deceased was receiving disability benefits due to ongoing medical issues because the kid suffered spina bifida, right? Blankenship said the parents could face murder charges depending on the outcome of the autopsy. And the dad attempted to hide his son's body from his wife and their other children. Before putting Logan in the backyard freezer, he wrapped his son in wrapped his body in a plastic bag and blankets and a shower curtain and covered him in cardboard. Following the disposal of Logan's body, Michael moved his family into a hotel room to hide it further. In open court, Michael said he and his wife had no knowledge of the crime. Authorities believe she did have knowledge prior to the arrest being made, the sheriff said. Blankenship claimed that Michael called the Headland Police Department on October 11th and said he had hidden his son's body. The officer searched the property but did not find the body and left. And several weeks later, it was found by the new homeowners, right? I'm going to explain that one to you, Sheriff.
And so how incompetent are the friggin' police? What's wrong with this guy and the poor new homeowners who have to find the decomposed body and, Sheriff, what'd you call him? Sheriff Blankenship? Mm-hmm. I mean, he said they're sending the body off for an official autopsy. If he's smart, he'll reach out to Roy Provost at Parish Forensics and have the autopsy done by those guys. And they are, as you all know, the official autopsy provider to Real Life, Real Crime and The Daily Show to make sure that things like this are done by experts.
That's so true, Mike. And if the family would like the body cremated, Roy and the two Christians can take it from there and make sure the work is expertly done, and a funeral service could occur right there under that big American flag in Broussard, Louisiana.
And close your ears, Miss Jared, but hey, if they had had a pet of some kind in another freezer on the property, Roy and the two Christians could have made sure that the pet was cremated properly, and the family could have chosen one of the great choices of urns provided by the Louisiana Pet Crematory, so they would always have their furry friend close by.
And that's at lapetcrematory.com. Parish Forensics, Louisiana Funeral Services, and Louisiana Pet Crematory are official partners of Real Life, Real Crime and The Daily Show. They're great people who can help you when the time comes. And remember what they always say, guys.
Rest easy.
And you know what? We need to go do a live show from there one day. We love them. The only place in the state of Louisiana where you can get an independent autopsy done.
By the way, that story was ridiculous. I mean, I can't. It's just
so
a freaking
stupid.
ridiculous story.
I don't get it.
And I would never serve up a ridiculous story like that.
That's right.
Woody Overton. So let's get serious again. Okay. So his real name is Carlos Erwin Estevez.
Charlie's brother.
Anybody?
Carl, is a what?
Is it Emilio's
His real
brother?
name is Carlos Erwin
Emilio Estevez.
Estevez.
Charlie Sheen.
Do you know what his real name is?
Charlie
Ding,
Sheen.
ding. His real name is Charlie Sheen. Charlie
Lost
had a,
Boys. No, sorry, he wasn't in that one.
Charlie had a huge but very, very wild and volatile career, right?
That was a great movie, though.
Well,
Soundtrack was cool too.
Yeah.
Platoon. I mean, think of the string of movies he had.
Platoon was good, too.
Platoon in
Wait, wait, wait.
86.
Go back to the one, The Outsiders.
Major League.
Major League. Yes.
No,
yes.
God,
He said the smoke.
Okay,
Yeah.
but his signature movies: Platoon, Wall Street.
Major League.
Major League was a signature movie.
Well, Bud
Platoon
Fox
was the shit.
Look,
Yeah.
Bud Fox and Wall Street. Also, Young Guns. I mean, Bud Fox got to sleep with Daryl Hannah. Come on, I rest my case there. In 2010,
Did you find out
know?
on Mr. Pink?
In 2010, did you know that? What did you call it?
It's Mr. Pink.
Mr. Skin.
Mr. Skin. Yeah.
In 2010, listen. In 2010, Charlie Sheen was the highest paid TV actor getting $1.8 million an episode for 2.5 Men.
What?
$1.8 million an episode. A year later, in 2011, he was fired from 2.5 Men and began claiming that he was, quote, a warlock with, quote, tiger blood and, quote, Adonis DNA and a whole bunch of other crazy shit, right? So his life since has pretty much been in and out of rehab, starts and stops with acting, and a number of failed relationships, some famously failed relationships. But even Charlie was shocked recently when he learned that his eldest daughter, Sammy, had kickstarted a career as a sex worker.
Uh-oh.
The 19-year-old launched her adult business venture by joining OnlyFans, which, for those of you who don't know, is a subscription-based platform that allows creators to share nude or partially nude content that Jim Chapman currently spends $2,300 a month on.
$2,500.
Oh, $2,500. Sammy's mom, Denise Richards, who was credited by Mr. Skin with a top 5 movie nudity moment of all time for her lesbian scene in the movie Wild Things. Who was the other actress?
That was a great movie.
Who was the other actress?
Nev Campbell.
No, boom, Jim tied it up 1-1. Oh, yeah. That scene with Nev Campbell. Denise was cool with Sammy's unconventional career move. How could you not be? Right. Despite initially being taken aback, Charlie said he began to see things differently because it was his daughter. In response to her daughter's career move, Denise Richards, who's now 52, said, Sammy is 18. All I can do as a parent is guide her and trust her judgment, but she makes her own choices.
Right.
Charlie blamed his ex-wife for Sammy's choices, telling Page 6 of the New York Post at the time that she's 18 years old now and living with her mother. This did not occur under my roof.
That's
he added,
coming from him.
He added, I do not condone this, but since I'm unable to prevent it, I urged her to keep it classy, creative, and not sacrifice her integrity. As for Sammy, she says since joining OnlyFans, quote, I've never felt more confident in my body. I think it's because of my subscribers. They're the best. Thanks, Jim. Right now, her biggest concern is quitting vaping, which she's been told she needs to do in order to get the D-cup breast implants she's been wanting ever since she was on the cusp of puberty. Quote, I was 10 years old and I can't wait to have big boobs like my mom. All my friends were getting boobs, and I was just like, okay, when's it going to be my turn?
Oh, my God.
I dedicate this story to any parents out there that don't think they are role models for their kids. This crime is the story of America in 2023. Wow. A lost generation. Poor Sammy. Role models.
How much she's making a month?
She wouldn't disclose. She's making a shitload.
Now she'll be making a shit ton more than that we advertise for on Real Life Real Crime Daily.
That's right. Oh, that's right. Thank you for the shout out.
Wild Things 2, by the way.
I'd like to.
She's going to be in Wild Things 2.
Major League 2.
I would just like to thank her for the shout out.
Yeah, thank you for the shout out.
Thank you very much.
You want me to try and get you a signed picture?
No, I can handle that.
She said you were spending.
Well, you have a direct relationship with her. You don't need.
Huh?
She said you were spending $2,500.
No, she said 23. Jim said it's up to 25.
I thought you were getting $2,500 a month for
total.
yours.
Total.
I thought
that's right. No, mine's like
$25,000.
That's right.
Yeah, right.
I'm not cheap.
Yeah. Right? We're about to retire.
Not cheap, but good.
Yeah, I'm going to be your manager.
Well, I'm just glad that Sammy can finally get those D cups. I mean, to live in L.A. and be around all those other 10-year-olds that are getting their D cups, and you can't.
How unfair is that?
That's right.
What do you do as a 5th grade teacher when the kid says, I need a couple days off, I'm getting implants?
You can now take off that belt and move freely around the cabin.
All right, it's a Mile High Crime.
Mile High.
And we're going to tell you about a crazy one today, y'all. And this one you're going to have to keep up with. An incident involving a dog on a Southwest Airlines flight resulted in at least 3 people being asked to leave the flight. One of the people being involved in the situation reports this. Since Sunday, a TikToker identifying herself as Sarah Price had posted 5 videos on TikTok about that flight. She says that her and her husband were on board. And in the first video, Price says a passenger was kicked off the flight for petting her own dog. In one of the follow-up videos, Price said she and her husband were then both asked to leave the flight. The first video shows a woman sporting an Oregon State Beavers sweatshirt. That explains a lot. Removing her bags from the plane. Just kidding, Oregon. Removing her bags from the plane overhead compartment and heading toward the exit. The text overlay on Price's video says, Southwest Airline kicks lady off flight for petting her puppy. The video has been watched more than 1.4 million times as of this recording. The puppy was whining a little, and the flight attendant boarding everyone walked up to her and said, if your dogs don't be quiet, you're not going to be able to fly. After boarding, the dog owner, who was sitting in the same row as Price, put the carrier in her lap and continued to pet the dog. The flight attendant approached the dog owner and asked her to zip up the carrier and stow it under the seat, according to Price. Price shared a second video that the woman thought it would be okay for her to continue petting until everyone had boarded. Price added the flight attendant decided to return to the gate and remove the dog owner from the plane. In that video, the dog owner can be heard refusing assistance from the flight attendant. I'm not going to have you touch a thing of mine. You are rude. You are a mean person, and I will never fly Southwest again, the dog owner said. Other people can be heard consoling her in the background and saying it's not like you even had the dog out. You were petting it. One man can be heard saying in one of the follow-up videos, that man being her husband, that particular quote. A representative for Southwest said their reports showed a passenger was not complying with the airline's policy of keeping kennels closed. But Price's story didn't end there. In one of her follow-up videos she shared on this past Monday, Price said that she and her husband were also asked to get off the flight. Video Price shared shows a Southwest staff member approaching the plane's galley and speaking with the pilot. Price said that her husband had said that the treatment of the dog owner was ridiculous. And in a fourth video, she showed screenshots of what she said were messages between her and the Southwest representative. In one of the screenshots, the other party apologized to Price, writing they regret that she and her husband were unable to travel with us to San Diego as planned. So I know Mike has some experience with flying with pets.
You have no idea. I have the exact experience, except the airline handled it much, much better. I picked up Jake, who's now 14, as a puppy from the breeder at Kennedy Airport. So literally a half hour after I got him, we got on an American flight to fly to LA from Kennedy. And, you know, he's a little puppy. He only knew me for an hour, and he was crying in the little bag that the carry-on bag, and disturbing everybody in the cabin because he was whimpering. So I kept unzipping part of his bag and sticking my hand down to keep petting him and make him comfortable. And he was calm while I was doing that, but it was really, really uncomfortable to try and get all the way down there. So I picked him up. I picked the bag up, not the dog, picked the bag up, put it on my lap, and was doing it that way. And I was asked to stop by a flight attendant and told to put the dog under the seat in front of me. And I said, well, if I do that, he's going to start crying again. Sir, that's the rule you have to do. So I do it. Of course, he starts crying again. So I wait until the flight attendant goes away. I bring him back up on my lap, and I'm petting him. And again, he's in the bag, and I'm petting him. Flight attendant sees me, whatever, a half hour later. Sir, I've already told you once, the dog must be. I said, if I put him down below, he's going to start crying, and he's going to disturb everybody in the cabin. That's the rule, sir. Put him down. Put him down. He starts screaming again, and I pick him up again, and here comes the flight attendant 15 minutes later. And so it was actually a guy, and I stop him cold and and I just asked everyone in the cabin. I said, folks, the flight attendant's about to ask me to put this dog down under the seat in front of me where he's been crying the whole time. Are you all comfortable with him staying on my lap where I pet him and he's quiet, or would you rather have me put him under the seat in front of me where he's going to cry the rest of the flight. Everybody goes, leave the dog alone. And so the flight attendant finally backs off. Now, that was American, not Southwest. But, I mean, these people have to use just
More
better
common
judgment.
sense, It's called sticking to the rules too hard.
Yeah.
Sticking to the rules.
And they actually kicked a second couple off the plane for complaining?
Yeah,
That's
for basically
unbelievable.
not being on their side and being on the, it's unbelievable.
What's happened at Southwest?
I know it.
What was his name, the founder?
Mr. Southwest?
No, it was a famous guy, Fred.
Kinky Crimes for Friday.
I can't remember his name. He was never in a kinky crime.
All right, y'all. Even back to the people that wear the badge. And here we go. It's just a fucking bizarre one. Gemma Dix. Now, what a name, right?
That's a great name for a kinky crime.
Right.
Gemma Dix?
Gemma Dix.
Gemma Dix.
Gemma, last name Dix. Dicks. 28, confessed to oral sex at various locations and dates with her sergeant lover in their busy police station over a 10-month fling at a hearing last Friday. The disciplinary hearing board was told PC Dix
Police.
Right.
Oh.
Yeah, please, must got to be something like that. So let's just say the disciplinary hearing board told Dix admitted to senior officers on multiple occasions the oral sex occurred while on shift together. But 40-year-old Sergeant Adam Reed, who has since left the force, told his wife it only happened once as the pair were working together.
Plot thickens.
Dix is now battling to save her career by saying their sex games are not something that constitutes a firing. Right? Bullshit. You're on the duty. But anyway, their affair came to light after Sergeant Reed was accused of taking sneak photographs of another woman officer's feet with Officer Dix in the station sergeant's office. Right, so a little jealousy there. Sergeant Reed was challenged about taking the secret feet pictures without consent and later admitted to having a foot fetish. Plot thickens. Both now face a disciplinary hearing with top brass from the department for discreditable conduct for their sex games. Officer Dix argued that her breaches of professional behavior only amount to misconduct and were not gross misconduct, which would constitute firing her. A civil attorney for the city said, "We rely on PC Dix's own admission that there were multiple occasions for this activity. The factual allegations are admitted. The officer says the conduct admitted amounts to misconduct, but not gross misconduct." I already told y'all that. Former Sergeant Mr. Reed was not at the hearing, but the Police Federation had been communicating with him through his wife. But Mr. Branston and Mr. Reed was claiming he only allowed PC Dix to perform the sex act on him on one occasion. Again, I already told y'all that. This marriage charge reads, "It is alleged that PC Gemma Dix has breached the standards of professional behavior related to duties and responsibilities and discreditable conduct, and such breaches are amount to gross misconduct." So they're trying to fire their ass. It is alleged that on various dates between Officers Dix gave Sergeant Adam Reed oral sex in various locations at the police station. Again, I already told you that. The hearing was told the second sexual incident between the two unfolded after Dix was seen by Reed working out in the station gym with members of the firearm team. Officer Dix said, "Reed texted me to say he was on his way up and he came into the gym. He was in his work clothes and I could just tell from his face that he was angry and he left. He texts, 'Kitchen now.' By the time I arrived at the kitchen, he jumped me. He exposed his penis and pushed my head towards his penis, saying I had to make it up to him."
Hell yeah.
Right? That's called rape.
Yeah.
Sergeant,
Gotta make it up to me.
Right. Sergeant Reed is accused of 3 charges of discreditable conduct, including when with another woman officer. Charge states that while this officer was sitting in his office, addressing that matter, he used his mobile telephone to take, who the fuck says that anymore? He used his cell phone to take a number of photographs of her feet. He did so covertly and without her consent. He has since disclosed that he did so because he has a foot fetish.
Yeah.
Right?
Hey,
Reed's
own it.
He has a lot of issues.
Yeah. And, Reed is also accused, as I told you, of having oral sex with Officer Dix at the station and during the middle of their affair of having sexual intercourse with another unnamed officer while on duty. Well,
damn, that's a horny department over there, son.
The sergeant's last name should have been Dix, right, instead of the girls. But, the problem is, what? Cops do cops, and then that's we used to call it breaking a limb back in the day, but nothing that I ever did it. Someone who's with me. But the thing being is when you're doing it, and it's like, I guess it's late at night, you're working a graveyard shift, you're bored, so you're just gonna do each other or whatever. But you might miss that 911 call, or you might miss something important, and you're not supposed to be doing it on duty.
Right?
Can I tell you something?
Yeah.
I had a client for a lot of years, great guy. His name is Alan Dick, and he owned Dick Broadcasting. They actually still own the stations to this day. Stations in Nashville, Knoxville, Greensboro. We've got a couple more markets. He married a woman, I think from Sweden, if I'm correct, who spells her name Lotta.
Really?
Her name
Lotta
became
Dick.
Lotta Dick.
Lotta Dick. That's funny.
Over time, it became Lata.
Right. Lata.
But you really
What's
have
your
to
name?
love a guy.
Lata
You really
Dick.
have to love a guy. That tells you what a great guy Alan Dick is.
Yeah.
That someone with the first name of Lotta would marry him and become.
They needed his life story on the cock.
Yes.
Kiki Crimes Friday. It's a banjo time on criminals.
Yeah, we got a little international dumb criminal thing going on here.
Jim, get your accent ready.
Irene was traveling from Belfast, Ireland,
Well, I know you got a good one.
to see her childhood friend and her young son all the way in Australia.
Accent.
Me Lucky Charms.
wait. You gave the Lucky Charms
For Ireland. That's right.
leprechaun in response to Ireland and Australia. Okay.
Looking for my pot of gold.
We have to take up this issue with the
Potato
board with him
fan.
and his freaking accents. She and her friend Tabby loved to do ecstasy back in their high school days. And Irene thought it would be great to bring some X with her on her trip to Sydney. Irene had purchased a gift for Tabby's young son and figured the Mr. Potato Head toy was a great place to hide the X.
Right.
So she put a small Ziploc pill bag in the battery compartment of the plastic spud.
There you go.
The customs officer in Australia had never seen a Mr. Potato Head and admitted that she examined the box more out of curiosity about the toy than any thought about it concealing drugs. But that's exactly what she found when she took the head of Mr. Potato Head out of the box. Upon grabbing the head, the rear battery compartment opened and the X fell out on the counter in front of her.
There you have it.
So unfortunately for Irene, her first trip to Australia resulted in a week-long stay in a Sydney jail and whatever the future issues are resulting from that.
And she didn't get to roll.
She gets some banjos and no ecstasy.
No ecstasy in the battery compartment.
But nobody in Australia was named Dick, so she
No.
has that going for her.
What you think, Woody Overton? Any final thoughts?
Man, Swim might know something about some ecstasy. Someone who is.
I hear that you love everybody when you're on ecstasy. Is just the love. The love
I tell you
drug,
what,
just
if the
love
whole world
everyone.
if the whole world was on pure MDMA, there would be no fucking killings going on. There'd be a lot of hugs,
Maybe
lot
that's
of
a
hugs,
strategy.
right? So I just want to tell everybody I love and appreciate them, and
may be on
thank
it
you
right
for
now.
listening. And yeah, I could be, but Swim's teeth would be grinding. Mine aren't. We love and appreciate each and every one of y'all. Thank you for tuning in, and liking and listening and sharing. Please go leave us a review if you're so inclined. And that's it.
Yeah, and be listening. I know the show's kind of sounded clumsy there for a few days while while we had Woody on the road and we were using the other tech, but we are all going to be in the studio for a long time here. I think. I don't know. Any plans to travel?
Thing or
I got a wedding to go to in December. But
All right. Well, until next time, I'm Jim Chapman.
Nah, I'm Woody Overton.
And I'm Mike Agovino.
For Real Life, Real Crime Daily. Peace.
Aglets.